Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Jerry Blevins is in the house. We're talking postseason environment, a team draft. It's players only. Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball, the midweek episode. Myself, Trev, BBD, and special guest today, Jerry Blevins, Shea Station, SNY, former Cubs farmhand, Oakland, New York Mets, Nationals. What am I missing?
I think you nailed it.
Yeah?
Dayton Flyer.
Yeah. OH.
Yeah, Frankfurt Eggs Little League. You want to throw that in there?
You know I always do. Jerry, thank you for joining us. Excited to have you. You know, Trev said he's always looking for the soft toss and lefty to come out of the pen, and here you are. So how you doing?
I'm good. 0 for 1, just so you know, Trev. Just a reminder, 0 for 1. I'm great, man. I'm honored. This is the mothership. You guys called me up. I feel grateful to be here on the best show on podcasts on baseball, man. I'm honored.
We love you, Jerry. We're going to have some fun today. I know Trev's got questions for you and a little draft ended. Speaking of, Trevor Plouffe out on the left coast, getting ready for his big camping trip.
Oh, yeah.
Looking like a John Boy media model today. Both of you are. What's up, Trev?
I got the bat, too. You know, I was going to start the show off today, Jake, with like a little bunting drill, teaching the people about the importance of it. But you know what? Jerry's on. I feel like I just want to shower him with compliments. So maybe that's what I'm going to do for the next 5 minutes. If everyone just turns their mic off. Jerry, you look great.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you,
and
sir.
Look at us being company men. Yes, you're messing that up a little bit. But you're a Yankee today. I think you're going to the game. Is that correct?
Sure am. Trying to.
Man, there's some fun things happening in New York. I think we're going to talk about that today.
If Aaron Judge hits 3 home runs today, he has, while we record this, that would be 62. He hit 2 home runs his last game. So I don't know. I told Jerry before this, I'm playing a dangerous game. I'm going tonight, I'm going Thursday, and I'm going Sunday. So if Judge hits homers on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, I'm going to be a sad panda. If I can catch a little bit of the history, I will be excited for that. And Jerry Blevins, there was also, did I see some champagne in the Mets locker room?
You did. Subdued celebration. They clinched the first playoff berth since 2016. I love it, man. This is a veteran group. You saw Scherzer. He's like, look, these don't come around very often. Obviously, we have bigger plans, but this is a celebration because we are making the playoffs one way or the other. So it was nice to see. Great for Mets fans. I loved my partner, Jolly Olive. How excited he was.
Yeah.
He showed a picture of babyface Jolly on Twitter the last time the Mets were in the playoffs. Great time to be a Mets fan, an awesome baseball team to watch every day. So the postseason is where it's at, what it's all about. So it's cool to see.
And Jerry, you mentioned that 2016 last time the Mets were in the playoffs, and because you were there. You were.
I was there. I got to witness the Connor Gillespie home run in the 9th. Just brutal. We got Madison Bumgarnered. But yeah, man, I was a part of that 16 team. And then we were really bad in 18. So it was nice to remember. People forget 18, but they remember 16.
And yeah, you're right. That picture of Jolly, man, that was sometimes I forget how young some of the people that work here are. I was making fun of Jimmy's little brother Luke, Sales Luke, formerly intern Luke, because we were talking about we made a Judge shirt in 2017 that we wanted to make it like a concert shirt, like when you see all the concerts and it's got the dates on the back. We did that with Judge's homers. It was like a badass shirt. It was like I think Jimmy really emptied his tank on that one because he wasn't so good at design at the time, but he went heart and soul into it as he does with everything. And I was like, I made a joke. I was like, yeah, I think Luke was like 14 when we made that shirt. And everyone kind of paused for a second, and Luke was like, oh, 17. And I was like, shit. I was like, God damn it! I thought that was gonna be like Luke. Luke was young, and then it was like too accurate. So I was happy to see. Yeah, was that a prom picture of Jolly Olive? The Mets hadn't been to the dance since then.
I love he rocked a bow tie. I've been known to have a bow tie every once in a while, so it was a good look for him.
Trev, I know you have some questions from Jerry, and I mentioned Jerry was on that 2016 wildcard roster, and I knew that because I looked at Jerry's LinkedIn. Or Baseball Reference. Baseball Reference is the LinkedIn for baseball players. So for me, Jerry and Trev. But LinkedIn, if you're not looking for pro ball players, it is the best place to find potential job candidates. We use it every time we've had a job posting. We throw it on LinkedIn. We've hired a bunch of people from LinkedIn. I tell people, if you want to add me on LinkedIn, absolutely do it. I'd say once every 2 weeks, I just accept every invite, and we are LinkedIn friends forever. So whether you're hiring, whether you're looking for a job, LinkedIn, it's basically known as the one. Like, know how there's brands of stuff. Like, I think Q-Tip, like that's not actually the name of it, but because the brand is so popular, like they won. That's basically LinkedIn for jobs. Kleenex, like LinkedIn is that. So whether you're hiring or whether you're looking to be hired, go check out LinkedIn, linkedin.com/Talkin. Post your job for free. So if you're looking for candidates, that's a pretty affordable way to do it, huh? That's linkedin.com/Talkin to post your job for free. Trev?
A couple different things that I wanted to get started with, mostly centering around the playoffs. Jerry, you're a guy with a 0 ERA in the playoffs.
Whoops.
Never get up a run in the playoffs. That's just how you roll. With the addition of the wild cards and all these things, I love the fact that you mentioned earlier a subdued celebration. Now we have to have different levels of these champagne celebrations because, if you're the Dodgers and you clinch a playoff spot, you're like, okay, we know. It's like we want to clinch the number 1 seed. So it's like I think at first they did like a little clink of the glasses, like a little toast, and then it's the shower, and then like when you do the division or whatever, the number 1 spot, you go ham. How were your celebrations? You were in 12 and 14, and you were on the 16 team too. How many celebrations did you get? And do you have a favorite one?
In 12, so I made the playoffs 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So five years in a row. The 12 one was amazing. We were with the Oakland A's in 12. We chased down the Texas Rangers on the last game of the season. But the day before, we clinched the playoff spot. That was the first year they expanded the playoffs. So we had a really good celebration, but we knew we had one more game to go. So we double celebrated the next day. Tons of champagne in the eye. Everyone is amazing. Every time you clinch the division, it's special. The subdued ones are the wild card because you feel like there's unfinished business. So like in 16, that we were kind of coming off the World Series. In 15, we were a little bit disappointed. So we were like, yeah, we're going to go. And we celebrated, and it wasn't like anything, but it was still a moment. And so those were only one game and you're done. So that season ended, rapid. Yeah. But the champagne is the real deal. The worst pain for the best reason in your life.
I love it, man. I only did it once in at least at the MLB level. I did it a few times in the minor leagues and pro ball. But dude, yeah, you're right. It's the best. There's nothing better than that. I had a great night. Late night Minneapolis after the celebration. My goodness. I knew I was playing the next game too. I was a scrub, so I was like, I'm going to be in the lineup tomorrow.
You probably got a couple knocks, feeling good, relaxed.
I think I did get a knock. You're right. But leading into like what I really want to talk to you about, because I love champagne, but let's talk some ball here. We have some teams kind of like fighting for their spot, whether it's a seed in the wild card, whether it's the division. And we're hearing like kind of different things about the clubhouses. Like the Mets have been praised all year long for like their clubhouse, and that's been, in the media's eyes. I'm not sure if it's really that way, but the clubhouse has been a major difference from like what they did last year into what they did this year. Obviously, they added a bunch of players too. Were you like a fan of teams that kind of kept it business-like during these moments, or are you a guy like the Guardians saying we're just having fun and they want to keep it as loose as possible. I'm sure you've been through both of those scenarios. Like, what do you think is better?
Yeah, so I've been through both extremes. I like where the Mets are. It's kind of in the middle. So
Yeah.
they're fun. They got a bunch of really like fun guys to just be around. So they stay loose, but they also have focus. They're also like, hey, we have a job to do every day. You can have your fun as long as you are locked in and ready to go. So, with guys like Scherzer, who sets the tone, this guy has done everything in baseball. He shows up every day, tries to outwork everybody. That's contagious. You have a guy like Eduardo Escobar out there. So I appreciated the looseness that we had in Oakland. It was really businesslike, but we were super loose. We hadn't been there before when it got to the playoffs. And so we were a little bit shell-shocked. We kind of lost our identity. So I think too loose is a thing. And then you don't want to be too businesslike because you lose the fun of the game on why you're playing it there. One thing that I think about the Yankees, they were so spoiled because you either win the World Series or it's a bust of a year. So you forget that there's fun in playing baseball. And so you go about just doing one thing, trying to avoid losses. So I like the mix of both. You're there to win, but you're also there to have fun. And that's kind of what got you to the dance in the first place.
Yeah, we talked about the Mets clubhouse. I think you hit it right there with Scherzer. Like, you have guys like Escobar. He brings the vibe every single day. Like, he's the fun, the spark plug. You have some other guys like that, but here's Scherzer at the top, and yeah, he can have fun too. But he's like, hey guys, like, he's the one that's going to say, let's have fun, but there's a lot left to do. So I like the Mets in that regard, and that's crazy. It's like, what a change from 1 year, man. And that's it's different from like everything I read about the Guardians. It's like, hey, we're here, we're having fun, we're trying to stay loose. And I think that is kind of like what you're talking about with like the younger teams. It can be so daunting and like scary that you just kind of have to avoid that nervous feeling and kind of and play a little bit looser. I think that's kind of the reason they're doing that.
Yeah. Well, one thing with the Guardians is they're led by Tito, and Tito's done everything as well in the game. And so he understands that his young team, that young clubhouse, needs to feel relaxed, but he's also going to keep them focused. So I have no problem with Tito and what they're doing. He understands the identity. That's the key. Just remain who you are, what it took to get there. And hopefully you've got some veteran presence in that playing from the player's side that can show those guys, hey, this is how you got to do it, because the lights are the brightest in the playoffs. All of your routines that you go through during the year, they're a little bit thrown off because you have so many different things you have to do, from interviews, TV, you have to do the national anthems at a different time. There's just, everything is a little bit disrupted. And if you have a leader like Scherzer there, that can say, hey, this is what you need to do to make up for those changes, because baseball, as you know, Trev, as you know, Jake, the players only here, it's a grind of a season. So you fall into these routines based mostly upon time before game. And so when that gets disrupted, sometimes it throws guys off. You saw Garrett Cole and how much that affected him when the national anthem was like 7 minutes later. It can have an effect. So when you have a guy to be like, hey, look, these are things to expect, you can just go out there and play baseball.
My guy Garrett yelling at Billy Crystal. Garrett, Yankee fans love you. He's won a lot of us over with his press conferences this year. He's obviously so good of a pitcher that we grade him on a very different scale than everyone else. But yeah, it was kind of like, Garrett, I don't know what you think's going on here. People are still going to be on Billy Crystal's side. The only thing running through my head, because it is players only, but you guys do. I didn't pop the bottles with the boys. Was you have to lean into your identity in that moment, like. I'm picturing, I forget if it was the COVID year or if it was 2021. The Yankees, they originally clinched and they did like a champagne toast. And it was very much the Yankees. I mean, I think they were in I think it was the COVID season, because I think they were in Buffalo. So they were in like the conference room of the hotel and did like a champagne toast. And it's like, if you told me that this year's Guardians did something like that, I'd be like, get out of here. I want Naylor spraying everyone with champagne. I want those young guys losing their mind, because that's who they are. And when they come into the playoffs this year, which we'll be talking about them a little bit in our playoff team draft coming up, is, those guys better play with their hair on fire. I don't care if they run into my Yanks, Astros, whoever in the wild card round or whatever. Like, those guys better leave it all out there. Because why wouldn't you? They're a bunch of kids. Like, if you're gonna take them down, like, go out how you have all year. And there's a great point about Tito, Jerry. Like, that guy's seen it all, and he'd be the first to probably tell those guys, like, rip it up tonight. You earned it.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy to be like, hey, stay loose, stay yourself. If you want to play loud music at a certain point, don't change who you are now. This is why we're good. And that's the same way with Max Scherzer. He's the guy leading the way. When he's spraying champagne in each other's faces, that's when the young guys are like, okay, cool, we can do the same thing. So it's all about like guys that have been there, guys that have been around. Keep your identity, understand that there's still baseball to be won, and just enjoy the moment. Because, for Trev, who had a really great career, a long career, to only have, never played in the playoffs, like, it's hard. It's a lucky thing to be a part of a good team. You never know. It's a team game. So as good as you are, look at what Mike Trout has done. You know what I mean? And so enjoy the moments because they're few and far between.
100%. I wonder how much that playoff experience is going to come into play like this postseason. Because we have some teams that really haven't been there. You could talk about the Mariners, although, obviously they have players that have played in the postseason, but for the most part, it's a pretty young team. Guardians the same way. It's like, are they going to be shell shocked? I know that's one thing. That's kind of like as Jake likes to say, lamestream media topic, but it's true. I mean, it's a different brand of baseball. Like you're saying, the routines are disrupted, but also, I mean, it's a massive stage where every play is magnified. Like, we talk about it on this show. We love covering the playoffs because it's like you can get hyper specific because you're only watching, 3 or 4 games, and like you can like really hone in on things. And I think sometimes that could be overwhelming for guys. But I'm like, that's one of the things I love to watch is what dudes aren't affected by it. And you can almost tell the guys. Like I always said, like Eddie Rosario, from the day I met this dude, he doesn't give a shit what scenario he is in at the plate. Doesn't matter. There's not a situation that's too big. Doesn't mean he's gonna get a hit, but he's up there with confidence. I love seeing that. I love the guys because that's a separator at the big league level. Being able to handle big moments. Like, I know we don't have a clutch stat, and I know we can't really quantify it, but there is something to be said about a guy with a slow heart rate in those moments.
I couldn't agree more, really, Trev. And that's something that I prided myself on. And these are the words that I used as like a veteran guy that passed it on to some of the bullpen guys and even some of the position players. I always talked about, like, when you're a little kid and you're dreaming about being in the big leagues, what are you thinking about? I was always thinking about facing Ken Griffey Jr., bottom of the ninth, game on the line, bases loaded, you're up by 1. And that's the moment. And so when I got out there during the playoffs, I was like, dude, I've been in bigger situations than this. And I think about all those moments where you're like, this is why I did all that work. This is why all that preparation, my whole life, I'm preparing for this moment. And so I could take a deep breath and be like, all right, this is fun. And I would just take advantage of knowing that the hitter wanted to get a hit way more than he wants to take a walk or a situation like that, whatever the case was. And I always said, look, man, these are the moments that you dream of. Baseball's cumulative over 162, but like you said, there's a clutch gene when the spotlight is on, when it's yes or no, when it's pass fail. Who are you in your DNA? Are you a winner? Can you overcome some of that anxiety? And that's where I thrived. I loved when the game was on the line. Whether it's one at bat, I always called it pass fail. To me, the playoffs is pass fail. You're either going to get the job done or you're not. And those were the moments that got me going the most.
Yeah, and I love that there's a way to combat some of that stuff now within all the organizations. Like there is mental health coaches there that can help guys thrive in these situations, and there's training for those situations. Like, I think teams have realized, like, hey, like that's very important when you are up in these big moments. You have at least have something to fall back on. You know what I mean? So I love it, man. Now I'm equal parts fired up and depressed because, as we keep referencing, I don't have any postseason experience. And that just hurts my soul every time I say it out loud. It hurts a little bit.
It should, man. I remember I broke my arm in 2015 and I'm rehabbing in Port St. Lucie. And then, I refractured it. So my season was done. And I'm watching my team, the Mets, that year go to the World Series. I never got to pitch in the World Series, but seeing my teammates, I'm cheering them on and excited and want them to win. But at the same time, I'm like depressed because I'm not a part of it. So I understand, man. It's again, it's out of your control. So of course, celebrate those moments with some champagne when you can. Get that sting in your eye. It's worth it.
And it's the beauty of the playoffs in a way, because Trev, you would have been a postseason stud. I mean, with that kind of juice and relievers getting shaky knees out there. I mean, we've already covered that. Jerry, I love it. I love hearing that from you because I think of the word cerebral when I think of Jerry Blevins, and you're the only person that I use that word with because I'm pretty sure I use it right. I like that that's you in the postseason is pass fail. That's a great way to look at it because it's true, right? Like you get the job done or you didn't. And it's what can you really do in those moments? It's like being prepared for a test or a quiz. Like you have put all the work in that season / your entire life to get there. So you might as well trust it now. And then at the same time, I do the next time we talk to brother Peter Moylan, because there's a couple ways to skin the cat, right? I could see Peter Moylan kind of, and there's some Aussie stereotypes in there, but Peter Moylan going, fuck yeah, man, I'm in the NLDS. Like, I'm going to be hype, and I'm going to drive this home, which, hey, however you skin that cat, good. But you definitely see the joking phrase that I've now used with my buddies when, I go to a lot of weddings, some bachelor parties that, those sometimes that Friday night gets a little rowdy. The joke I always say is the game starts moving real fast. Kind of like when you're talking about quarterbacks in the NFL or whatever it is, or if a late night starts getting late on you. Man, you're so right, Trev. When we watch that first playoff game in Seattle, if we get that, or when the Rogers Center is rocking, and if you botch a ball and that next ball is at you, that's not something you can prepare for, man.
But that's what I'm talking about. So like, again, no postseason experience. Fucking sweet, bro. But I played in big games or, been in the race. And like, that's the thing that you have to figure out is you have like a little bit of extra adrenaline. Like your T levels are spiking. Like, because at that level, everyone's got a little dog in them. So like, here comes the fight, and here, like, everything just gets intensified, so you have to be able to control that. And then like, you have to realize that person that you're playing against has got the same thing. They got a little juice. So maybe there's a little extra life today, or maybe that ball that he smoked is coming a little bit harder at you. And it's just, how do you answer that? And I love that 162 games, most likely, and I really hope this happens. Most likely it's going to come down to the last day of the season. And all those 161 games you played before, your entire season is going to be on one motherfucking game. A single mistake can change the whole season. And it's like, I love baseball because of that. We talk about our regular season and like, it's so long and it separates people. And then you get down and it's one game. And in baseball, anything can happen in one game. And I'm starting to get romantic about ball again, man.
You should, man. Baseball is romantic. It's a long game. It's different, man. It's not just, there's a little bit of everything. It's a long marathon, but also then it comes down to it. You got to do it in the moment. So there's people that have made their entire persona off of that one moment, guys that are World Series heroes or game 162, guys that weren't great baseball players, but they come in into a big spot and they never have to pay for a drink in that city ever again because they came up clutch in that one moment. It is romantic. I love baseball. I just got chills.
A lot of blood flowing right now. And if you have your blood flowing, and maybe your blood's flowing, but you're shooting your wad a little quickly.
That happens.
Roman swipes, maybe for you. You're right, Trev. There's a lot of people that deal with this. And if you're listening to this and you're one of those people, what would you rather do? Would you rather address it? Would you rather try something that is proven in 2019 to help you last 4 times longer?
What?
That could be big. That could be really big.
4 hours? That doesn't happen. That's disgusting. You don't have sex for an hour, people. Come on.
Remove the disposable swipe from its discreet pocket-sized pack. Wipe on the most sensitive parts of your penis. And when used as directed, Roman swipes leave no scent or taste. Hello, depending what you're doing in there. All swipes orders include free 2-day shipping, arrived in unmarked packaging. Try the swipes today with a special offer for our listeners. 20% off your first order with GetRoman.com/Talkin today. That's GetRoman.com/Talkin. 20% off. Jerry, I want to do the broadcasting thing quick with you because you are now, you're a man in the booth. Networks are clamoring for me and Trev to get in there. And it's an important topic. As I set that up, I'm going to derail it for a second because there's two things I need to address right now. One, for those that aren't going to look at your baseball reference, 7 innings in the playoffs, 0 earned runs, only 1 hit. I mean,
I can tell you about that hit, dude.
Slang that big thing
Prince
around.
Fielder bloop right over second base. It still haunts me. Like a sky high one, I turned around, I was like, that's going to get caught. Landed like right behind second base in no man's land. Still hate it.
I mean, that's badass, dude. That's forever. Congrats. I will taste you. Awesome. And then I got to know, as we just talked about the different emotions of the playoffs and stuff, I guess of those playoff memories, what jumps out? Because, dude, you pitched in the 12th inning of a playoff game? Like, does that come to the forefront? Or when I say of your 6 playoff appearances, I guess, where does your brain jump first?
My brain probably jumps to the 2014 season with the Nationals. We were, supposed to win. We ran into Bumgarner. Our offense didn't do much outside of Bryce Harper, who played. Bryce Harper is when the lights are on, that guy performs big time. But I came in relief once for Strasburg in a big moment and threw up a 0. And then I did it in Game 5 at San Francisco. Game 4, Game 5, the last game we played with runners on and pitched a couple of innings. So those are the ones that stick out the most. They're all really meaningful. I remember them all. I'm not remember every pitch I've ever thrown kind of guy. There's some players out there that know everything. But I remember basically every pitch I threw in every postseason.
That's awesome. Those not hashing old wounds. I mean, those 3 games you pitched in, you did your job. Not saying other people didn't, that all 1-run losses, which, I mean, baseball is a pretty sick sport in that way, huh?
You remember there's one, we played 18 innings at home in Washington, and Brandon Belt hit a home run in the 18th to win it by 1. And that was a long, lonely flight from DC to San Francisco. That was like, how do you turn that off? It's like 4 a.m. You're flying across the country. That was a tough one. Yeah, we were a really good team set up to do some wonderful things. And that's baseball, man. You get beat sometimes.
Jeez. And the other thing I want to ask you quick, and if you don't have one, I'm sorry because I'm putting you on the spot. You mentioned Francona as the leader of the Guardians, and it just makes sense. I mean, he's baseball royalty to a degree. He's Terry Francona. Like, he is who he is. You mentioned Scherzer, and, obviously Buck is there too. I was just curious, do you have any Scherzer anecdotes for this year? Because we have such an image of this guy. He breaks the bank again. Good. He for the players, he represents the players during the lockout. He's not necessarily your swag guy. We've seen some Scherzer outfits. He's clearly a work ethic king. He's obviously a guy that the dudes respect. So I was just wondering if you've caught any Scherzer anecdotes this year that it's like he's that dude.
I can't think of anything specifically, but he really is. He's a fun guy to be around in the clubhouse. He's self-deprecating. He's not afraid to get on you. He's funny. He's the most competitive guy in that clubhouse. You talk about when the lights are on, Harper, he's one of those guys. Like, he's not the best golfer, but if he's out there on the course with you, I've seen him, he will get into your head if you're a scratch guy and there's a putt on the line, he will talk shit to you until you miss that putt. And if he's got a 15-footer, even though 9 times out of 10, he's not going to make that putt, when he makes it to win some skins and he needs it, he's going to sink that putt. Like, he's just a clutch human being, a fun group. Yeah, I've heard nothing but amazing things from the guys in the clubhouse about just having him around every day.
I love it. I think he's I think it just feels like Max Scherzer is the guy you kind of want him to be, at least for those of us outside the realm. Jerry, you had a tweet, I think it was this morning, that was on this topic, and you sounded like you had an eye-opening experience a little bit, because Trevor, Jimmy, and I, we've talked about this before, how the playoff broadcast booths, and normally it kind of seems like whiny people on the internet, right? I mean, that's a lot of times it is, and sometimes I'm one of those whiny people. Baseball has an easy, there is a solution to the answer. Getting there is probably not as easy as we'd like to think in our heads, but the booths in playoff games, and I'd like us to kind of land on a consensus here, because I will bring up my Yankee predicament, but kicking out the booths of the home teams or either teams in the postseason is one of baseball's biggest misses right now.
I agree, man. When you're playing, you don't think about, the broadcast booth. So there's 2 sides to this. So the Mets, whom, I obviously cover, their radio is, one of the best in the world with Howie Rose and Wayne Randazzo. The radio guys get to do their job. Yeah. It's the TV guys, guys and girls, their broadcast, they don't get to do it. They've grinded with this team sometimes for long time without making the playoffs. They've been with this specific team for they travel with the team. And then the playoffs come and the fruits of your labor are about to be there, and they have to take a sideline to the national broadcast. It is kind of cruel. And having become on this side of things, I feel for, specifically the Mets guys, Gary, Keith, and Ron, Steve Gelbs, all the SNY producers, directors, camera people that have invested so much, and they've done a great job all season too to just basically say, beat it. That's tough.
There's just really no way around it, though, right? I mean, you're paying big money to host these postseason games, and then you can have a simulcast where you have like an alternate channel, so each team gets the broadcast, because you can't just have the home team have the broadcast, because then if you're a fan of the other team, there's no way you want to listen to that. So it's like, I guess there's really no way around it, but it does. Now that you think about it, the radio guys get to continue to do it. That's awesome for them. But yeah, it's interesting. But is there a system where it could work?
That's what's been circling in my head all day. And the dream scenario, and the one that actually gets me into more trouble, would be, I think you have a national guy, you have a Buck or a Davis who kind of keeps it going, and then I'll use Mets Yankees for an example. Do you have Cone and Darling or something like that? But then that gets tricky, because now I'm kicking out Michael Kay, who's a dude I love and is fantastic on the calls. I think the fear is that it would lead to bickering in the booth, because that's one of our biggest things as fans. I think that would be incredible. I mean, could you imagine if you have 2 opposing announcers kind of not chopping each other down, but being, trying to set the record straight about their team? So I don't know, Trey, you mentioned if those teams could broadcast their games locally still and still have a national draw, I mean, you're losing from national money.
Yeah, you can't do that.
That's never going to happen. So I don't know. I was going to see if you guys had any creative solutions.
I know so for one game, the Apple TV they had on the West Coast, it was the Mets versus the Angels. They brought in Wayne Randazzo, who's one of the radio guys for the Mets, to run host. And then they had their personalities. I think it was Hunter Pence was one of the personalities, but that was nice because they had somebody there familiar with the team leading the show. But even that couldn't really work, because then you miss out on, the big money for Joe Buck and those guys to do the national broadcast. So I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that the booths, the TV people, the personalities for all the teams that make the playoffs get the cold shoulder. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
I have a solution.
Yes.
Because people complain about who's in the booth. That's what we're talking about now. Like you get so used to having people that you like, and then also the national broadcast, there's been people there in those positions that just look on social media, like they don't get rave reviews. I mean, I know certain people do like them, but I think networks need to do the best job that they can do at finding the best people. And it shouldn't be like legacy type. I'm not saying Joe Buck. I'm just saying like it shouldn't be like, hey, you had the job last year, you're going to have it for the next 5, 6, 7 years, which just kind of seems like what it is. Like we should make sure we're finding the best people. And like I don't know if they necessarily always do that.
It gets really tricky. I mean, I
guess that's all relative to who the best
right.
is.
And that's in my head the best solution would be, hey, if we could tell those, and again, maybe we'll get on some people's shit list with this, but if you tell those big national broadcasts like, hey, Joe Puck, who I think you got to pay him a pretty shekel per broadcast, like if it was a Michael K or whoever your team's broadcaster is, if they almost advance with the team, I don't know. If that becomes kind of a sick system too, because then I don't know. You get are people jumping ship because they're like, hey, the who's got a good young core? The Mariners look really good. Does Boog Sciambi like leave the Cubs to go to the Mariners for 3 years? I don't know. That turns into broadcaster roulette a little bit, but it feels like there's somewhere in there's an advantage for baseball that other sports don't have because of its regionality, that if they can tap into it the right way, it feels like there's a win there. I don't know how we get there.
Yeah, I'm not sure the answer. I do know what sparked it for me was I was having a conversation and somebody mentioned like, yeah, it sucks for Gary Cohen because he's had all these Mets moments, the great calls that you hear, and all of a sudden he doesn't get to call it in the biggest moments, the signature phrases that you've grown to love in your own fan bases. That doesn't exist anymore. Michael K has so many calls that you just, if Judge hits an amazing home run for 62, he's going to have a moment. But in the playoffs in Game 7 of the World Series, it's going to be somebody else. Like, it's wild to me. I don't know the answer. Baseball's in a unique position because nobody watches a regional broadcast of your football team. It's always, for the most part, you're going to watch a national broadcast. You're going to see Troy Aikman or, right, whoever the case may be. But baseball's different, man.
I mean, why not you have your booth and then each team, not a sideline reporter, but maybe like an extra color guy that they'll break to if they want you to talk about your specific team. I think that works. I mean, then you're taking work away from the Ken Rosenthals and all those guys, but I think people would enjoy like their own people talking about their team. I think maybe that's one way we work around it. I don't know. I'm full of ideas today.
I love it.
Some good, some bad. Just throw them out there.
Story of talking baseball. And yeah, Trev, I know you talked about it on Baseball Today a little bit, with, Judge's potential historic call coming up. They are on Fox Thursday, they are on Apple TV Friday, and they are on ESPN Sunday. So, all that talk, I know there's obviously heavy layers to it, but like you said, I mean, with the opportunity to call a moment like that and it's taken away from you potentially, because that's it's nuts.
Can I tell you something? So hold on. You had a bat earlier. This is behind me at all times. This is my one knock in the show.
Yep.
So the only regret I have about my knock in the show is that it was a Facebook Live game. And the call, it was brutal because they cut back to something. And so it sucked for me too. I actually haven't heard the radio call, but I'm sure Howie Rose crushed it. I'm going to have to get on those guys and send it over to me. But it's a legit because nobody understood the context of freaking Jerry Blevins getting a knock. They were like, and he gets a hit. Like, he didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I think he's two-way. He played at Dayton.
That guy's fired.
Hey, I hit 500 that year.
That's really
250 career hitter in the show.
Whoops.
Never swung and missed in 4 at-bats. No big deal.
Ow.
Fouled the ball off my shin, almost retired on the spot. That shit hurts, Trev. That hurts.
Yeah, it's
you guys are tough.
Comes with the
Well,
gig.
everyone knows that. I let the people on this show know about position players.
Good. God.
Thank you. And me, the starting pitchers. DraftKings Sportsbook. Football season is here. I know Jerry's a Bengals guy. They've gotten off to a little ooh. And Trev and I, we've been doing the John Boy Media. We got a little pick'em league going this year. And, Poppy got on the board last week. Trev, did you?
I'm 1-1.
Okay, same. And that's fine. At DraftKings, you can now bet $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do their same game parlays. Those are a lot of fun. They lay it out real easy to do. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code JOHNBOY to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code JOHNBOY, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, boys, let's do a high and tight draft-a-roo like Jerry Blevins' new haircut. Not many people can do the high and tight to the flow
Nice.
like yourself, Jerry. That's not bad, my man.
Thank you, sir. I don't have everything, but I got a good head of hair.
We want to do something fun. It's talking baseball, and I was overthinking it and underthinking it, and we decided we're going to try something and see where it lands. Me, Jerry, and Trev with BBD officiating. We are going to draft the playoff teams, and it's a point per win. So I was trying to do double points for wildcard teams. It got too complicated. But there's still going to be value there because, say, if you pick, say, a Cleveland Guardians team and they were to win their 2 wildcard games and then they were to win a division series and go on to a CS, they still have opportunities to pick up points there without maybe going chalk. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be 4 rounds. Snake draft. And BBD, you were told to pick out a stat for us to kind of play closest to the pin so we could figure out a draft order. Okay.
Keep your hands on the table or off the table.
Okay.
Yes, I picked a stat. And it went away. So dumb. Give me 1 second. We're going to the world of our Mariners. Biggest Mariners pod out there, maybe. Specifically, I've pulled up Big Dumper.
Oh.
Go at the time of recording. He has a certain number of hits on the season. Closest to Cal Rally's hit total. Should we go without going over? Just closest to it?
I think it's closest to the pin.
Closest to the pin.
Cal Raleigh, been catching most of the games for the Mariners this year.
I'm going to go. Has answer?
Sure.
Actually, I want to go last. What's the advantage?
Yeah, right.
Sure.
We should all say them at the same time because otherwise.
Should we write them down?
Yeah,
Yes.
do a write down.
Do you have
and
a pen?
reveal.
Does everyone have a pen close?
Yep.
Okay, I'm
good
writing
pen
mine
tosser.
down.
My Juan Soto card is going to have a writing on it.
Wow,
Bold.
Is that bad?
not selling that.
I don't know.
Okay.
if
Ready.
I got a pen.
I am
don't know what
ready.
The answer is.
Hold on.
And you can, okay. Trevor Plouffe is writing his down.
Ready?
All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, you can't see
I
mine.
can't see.
Oh,
mine.
we're close.
Oh, fuck.
I'm 81. You guys are 109 and 112. So
We're
Jake
close.
is closest to the pin. Cal Raleigh has 69 hits this year.
Oh,
my
I got
God.
it.
Way off.
Yeah, first. That's pressure.
I will choose to take the wraparound pick. I want to
So
take
you
the
will take
3,
the
4.
4.
Yeah.
Oh, what? I thought this was just the order we're going.
I think you get to select
pick-
your pick. That's traditionally how
picking
we've
the
done
pick.
it.
Pick to pick.
Okay. Jerry, you want 1 or 2?
I'll take 1.
Okay.
I'll
Trevor,
take 2. Well,
you
that's
are-
easy for me. I don't even have to make a pick.
You're
Yeah.
Smart pick.
you are the sandwich man. Well, with that, Jerry Blevins, first pick in the draft.
Okay. I am going to go. I want more games because we get points per game won.
Right.
So I want a team that's in the wild card with
Okay.
more opportunity. I'm going to go in the NL East, and I'm going to take the Atlanta Braves.
Okay.
I think they have the setup to win the most games, so that's who I'm going with.
You're banishing the Braves already to the wild card?
I am not. I know that they're either going to win the division or the wild card. I just took the standings for today. They're only one game out, so they're either going to win the division or be in the wild card, and I like their setup either way.
You heard it here first, people.
I love
Gary Blevins.
I was wondering how the NL East teams would go because we still don't know how that sorts out. So that's kind of a win-win, right? If the Braves win the division, all right, go get it, Atlanta, run it back. Or if they're in that wild card, more opportunity for points. Wow. Well, all the Mets fans will be mad at you, especially if we make a graphic about
That's
this.
fair.
But,
I'm about winning, and if it picking a rival, I played for the Braves too. I like the Braves. Peter Moylan's one of the best humans on the planet. I love that guy.
Okay.
Top billion. Trev, you have the second pick.
I'm going with the best team in baseball. I think you can get a maximum 2 wins on them if you're in the wild card. I think they're 2 wins better than most of these teams. So I'm going the LA Dodgers.
Wow. LA pick from the LA boy. People call you the LA boy? No? Okay.
Castake boy.
Okay. I have the wraparound. I will be taking... I unfortunately think on this side of the bracket, they have the easiest chance for the most wins. Just like Jerry, I will make some fans. I'll take the Houston Astros. Unless my Yanks figure it out, they might just waltz into the World Series. And with that, I want to play both sides of the card. And I will take the New York Mets. I think the Mets and the Braves were good selections for the reason Jerry and I mentioned with Jerry for the Braves. Both of those teams are stacked. The fact that one of them is going to be out early is insane to me. But I'll take Astros Mets all day.
Not bad. I think. See, now I'm happy because you said I'm going to play both sides of the card. I thought you were going with my St. Louis Cardinals. I want them because they are going to be in a wild card. They will be in a wild card series, and I believe out of those teams, like they have one of the better chance. I like their roster overall. I think they can get to the World Series. So Cardinals it is for me.
Ooh, so I have 2 picks. One, I'm a little sad that you took the Mets here. Sure. I was sad. I thought they would fall to me because you'd have to pick a team named the Yankees. So I have 2. So I'm a little bit thrown off here. I've got a couple of ways to go. I want to take the Phillies.
Ooh.
They might not be in the playoffs.
I know. And it's based off Zach Wheeler's health, who pitches tonight. Gosh, that's a tough one. So I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna take the Phillies as my first pick, and I'm gonna take the Yankees as the safeguard on my next pick.
Jeez.
Phillies draft picks are a risky play around.
Yeah, BBD's been hurt by the Phillies before.
Well, Zach Wheeler, and you've got Nola, and then you have Bryce Harper. You have Kyle Schwarber, who's going to hit 40 this year. Yeah. JT Realmuto is underrated all of a sudden. Yeah. They can mash, man. And if they pitch and hit at the same time, you can't beat that. But they got to get in.
They just got to dance. Treviello.
I'm between 2 teams right now.
Sure. And I love the Yanks. Love the Yanks pick, Jerry. I mean, if they're in 2 weeks, we could like that team a lot more than I think we currently do, but it's a little wait and see.
I have Toronto as like kind of my team that could just go in and bully people if they just get hot. But I'm looking at Seattle and like They have the pitching. They have everything. They're also kind of a complete roster. They're kind of banged up right now. So it's the only reason why I'm thinking about that. And are they going to be shell shocked by the playoffs? Like, I guess
Are they
you could
going to
say
be
the same
just
thing about
happy to be
Toronto,
there?
too.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about Toronto too, right?
I mean, this year's supposed to be the movie, so.
I'm taking Toronto.
Okay. Trevor's
Taking
Jays.
Toronto. I think that they're going to get through the wild card. They have Manoah, Gossman, and Stripling. I think will probably be three. I think they'll decide between him and Barrios. Gosh, this is tough. I'm changing my pick.
Okay.
I hate my team.
I'm staying with Toronto, baby. Let's go Blue Jays.
Wow. Exuding
I'm
confidence.
just scared. I'm scared of Seattle being a little bit banged up. I don't want to go with one of the other teams in the NL wild card because who knows what's going to happen there. Do I have to take the Brewers, right? Like,
You do whatever you want. Is your pick
if
done?
they're in, do I automatically get the Brewers?
It's a risk you take.
All right.
Trevor has the Dodgers, Cards, and Jays. I will be taking my third and my final pick. There's one team that mentally I haven't been able to shake this year, just because I love their starting pitching so damn much. In a short playoff series, they can do it. I will take the San Diego Padres, again, if they make the playoffs, but hopefully they can... if they are, I just love their starting pitching, and Juan Soto, with a little bit of help, can be enough offensively. Ask the Nats. And then, man, I don't love the board. Screw it. I'll take the Mariners. I think the Jays and them are different versions of each other. If they could feed off that crowd and teams hate flying up there, why not? All
So
right.
Jerry's going to have the interesting choice here at the end. I'm glad you picked the Mariners because they're going to be in the playoffs. That helps.
Yeah.
So I'll take the last remaining team that is going to be in the playoffs for sure, and that's the Tampa Bay Rays.
Ooh, okay.
So I'm stuck between. I've got an interesting choice here. Who's going to win the Central? And do the Phillies make the playoffs? We've got Milwaukee breathing down their neck. We've got the Guardians there with the White Sox.
Gosh. I guess Cleveland is obviously
the
going to
Guardians are on the board, and they can win a couple wild card games pretty easily.
Yeah, so I actually
for the playoffs almost.
Yeah,
I love the Guardians. I think they play a really fun brand of baseball, like the Mets light. They have some top end and Tristan McKenzie, friend of the company.
How about that?
Is nasty right now. They've got a really good bullpen. Class A is incredible at the back end, and they don't strike out. They put pressure on the ball, and they play good defense. I like their style. I've got to see them play live a few times, so I'm definitely going to take the Guardians in my Ohio roots as my last pick.
I almost took the Guardians in that turnaround. I mean, I think they can definitely, like, if they get the Rays, I'm picking them over the Rays in the wild card. Okay, so Jerry Blevins lands with the Braves, Phillies, Yanks, and Guardians. Trevor Plouffe, Dodgers, Cards, Jays, and Rays. Myself, Astros, Mets, Padres, and Mariners. Sound off in the comments. I know you are with any draft we do, so I don't even have to tell you that. But I'm so interested to see where this exercise lands because I feel like one of us is going to look like an asshole. It's just which one.
I feel like an asshole already because I look at my draft.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did I not get the Mets? I got two NL East teams. Like, I hate it. But I do like the prospect of winning. So I hedge. I'll be happy if the Mets win the World Series. And if they don't, I'm going to be happy I won this.
Yes. Trev, how do you feel
One of you guys, there's a possibility that you have a team that's not even going to be in the playoffs. And if that's the case, then Milwaukee will be in the playoffs, and I'll be happy about that.
I thought you'd go Milwaukee over your Rays. I thought you'd take a chance on it, Trev.
I still believe that my World Series is happening. But for this exercise, it's different.
You think Milwaukee?
And the start of that, it starts tonight. I know we're releasing this on Wednesday. Sox, Dylan Cease, need you. Need to win all 3 there, okay?
I can't believe I'm still rooting for them in some sort of way.
You are, because it's Cease, then it's Lynn, and then it's Cueto to save the season.
Like, baseball fans deserve to see Lance Lynn grabbing his biscuits on the mound after going 6 shutty. Like, we as baseball fans we've earned that.
And the South Side deserves more credit for their fandom. They're crazy.
Okay.
When it gets rocking, it's scary there.
Jerry, we cannot thank you enough. The lefty out of the pen gets it done again.
Can I give a couple shout outs here?
Need you to.
So Shea Station, we just did our latest episode is our 100th as a podcast.
Hey, yeah, baby.
Big celebrations there. We got a little bit of a giveaway. Look at Jolly's Twitter. My partner Jolly Olive, shout out to him, Jack, our audio guy. Grab the merch. We have some really cool Apple merch, some hats, some all sorts of fun stuff. And shout out to you guys for having me on. This is my World Series right now, as being on Talking Baseball. Wow. I love the show. I'm honored.
I mean, Jerry
love you.
He just hits you in the heart. He just does. He finds a way. You're the best.
Hey.
Yeah.
Mets fans, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Go get some playoff gear.
Yes, sir. Playoff gear. Do it.
Treat yourself. We are excited to. We're going to be streaming for the playoffs. If the Mets keep rolling, we'll see what happens. But we'll definitely be seeing you at some point, Jerry. Trev, one last thing before we go.
Are we putting something on it? This draft?
Oh, are we talking a show dinner?
I'm in for whatever. We doing a show dinner?
Sure. Next time we're all together, show dinner.
All right, deal.
So the winner wins it?
The winner picks the spot. The 2 other guys have to split.
Perfect.
That would work better for my current finances, I think. I know Trev has a finer taste. Which one?
Hey, charge it to the company. Andrew's all about it.
Someone sponsor this.
Cuts to us with Joe's vlogging. All right, we're here at Quality Eats. We'll figure that part out. All right. Thank you, guys. Trevor, Jerry, appreciate it. BBD on the 1s and 2s. John Malope, we miss you. We'll see you soon. And
you want to take this one, Jerry?
Let's go Mets. I don't know. What do we do?
Jake sucks.
Jake sucks.
Jake sucks.
Same thing, really.
One and the same.
Same concept.
Did it. Jake sucks.